to speak with the Minerals Commission on the sector, and the CEO, Mr. Martin Ayisi, is here with me on the show. Good morning, Martin.
Morning.
How are you doing?
I have some cold.
Oh.
But it's going down.
Okay. I hope it's not related to galamsey.
Oh, it's just a normal cold we all get from time to time.
Okay. I'm sure that you've been following the discussion on the ravages of illegal mining, especially mining around water bodies and forest reserves. I've bin speaking to Rastus Asaridonko, who's also done a lot of work. The last time you were here was when we saw that photograph of the mining close to the Kumasi Accra highway around Konongo, and we're told that it's even worse in other areas. And then last week, just before, Afashe, the Ghana Water Company Limited, actually issued a statement where they spoke about the turbidity of the water, and we're told that is now from turbidity levels of a little under 2,000 in 2016 is now 14,000. In fact, when they did it in around 2019, 2020, it was around 3,000. It's now about 14,000, way above the acceptable limits of 5,000. And they've also told us that nationwide, their production levels are at 40% nationwide. And if you take the Cape Coast and Edina areas, people get water 3 hours every week. And so this has led to a lot of calls. You've seen organized labor. You've heard a coalition, media coalition against small-scale mining, the Catholic Bishop Conference, the Christian Council of Ghana, the Fathers of the Apostolic Faith. Everybody else is asking for a complete ban, especially in the forest reserves and water bodies, until we can get to grips with this issue.
Ronnie, good morning.
Morning.
I've been away for like 2-3 weeks. I was on an official assignment outside the country. Then I think somewhere last week too, I was on a different program. Thank you very much. And good morning to our listeners and those who are also watching us. Randy, yes, I've been following and listening to all the issues and then the presentations from organized groups, civil society organizations, and then the various groups. And there is this group, Coalition Against Illegal Mining, which is made up of various interest groups.
Yes.
And then the recent statement, asking government to take certain steps to deal with the issue. I think you brought one key issue to the fore, which is the issue of banning small-scale mining. There's a video I'll be using in the course of my discussion, but it can be rolling as we talk. I'll make reference to it as we have it. Yes, but the issue just keep running. Randy, ban on small-scale mining. Randy, yes, the lawyers have a certain, we have in law, there's a comment, or I don't know whether you should call it a dictum or whatever. They say reps ipsa loquita. The thing speaks for itself. In other words, we will discuss what government has been doing and to address issues of whether government has failed or not. We will come to that. But then beyond all that we say, people normally say, oh, okay, if you say you've done X, Y, Z, the water body is still brown. It's still Milo look-alike. Recent statement by that official at Water Company and a host of other issues. So we understand that, we get that, and no apologies on that. But then let me deal with the question you asked, because that is one of the issues among several things that have been itemized by organized labor, UTAG, and all the various groups that should happen. So it's like stop small-scale mining altogether, take a back stage and recalibrate, and then perhaps come back. If you ask my take on it, I'll tell you what I think. you know,
So let me just read
yes.
this. So this, I'm reading from the organized labor statement. They say an immediate declaration of state of emergency in line with the provisions of the 92 Constitution, Articles 31 and 31.4. The declaration must incorporate the following. A, an order to halt all forms of mining, legal or illegal, in forest reserves and around water bodies. B, immediate evacuation of all mining equipment in forest reserves and around water bodies. C, the deployment of the police and the military with full orders to remove / destroy all mining equipment and other earth-moving equipment around river bodies and in the forest reserves. 2, the immediate revocation of LI 2462 and withdrawal of all licenses that have been granted for prospecting and mining in forest and protected reserves and also around water bodies. 3, establish a special court to prosecute the perpetrators of this horrible crime. Organized labor will urgently embark on a series of demonstrations and a nationwide strike if government fails to address the concerns raised by end of September 2024.
Ronnie, thank you. So I'll deal with the first one.
Right.
Following what has been happening, the reportage and what everybody is talking about, people are saying that there should be a ban on small-scale mining. I've heard it. And I want to explain the situation and then...
Is it in forest reserves and around water bodies?
Yes, but Randy, I will speak to that. But let me tell you, there's already a law. I'll read. Just a second. So this is Minerals and Mining Amendment Act 2019. Date of accent 19th August 2019. And then it amended section 81 of Act 703. Act 703 is a mining law. And then let's look at it, the offenses. A person without a license granted by the minister. A person who, without a license granted by the minister, undertakes mining operations contrary to the provisions of this act, instigates, commands, counsels, procures, solicits, or in any manner purposely aid, facilitate, encourage, or promote any act in contravention of a provision of this act in respect of which a penalty has been specified, or provide support. It goes on and on and on. But let me read the part that is relevant to this, just to let you know that there's already a law, so we're not saying anything new. The enforcement is something we can discuss. It says, a person who fabricates, manufactures, uses a floating platform or any other equipment for mining, dredging, or other mode of mining for the purpose of obtaining minerals in or along the banks of a natural water body, including a river, a stream, a watercourse, the exclusive economic zone, and any area covered by the territorial sea or continental shelf of the Republic of Ghana, commits an offense and is liable on summary conviction to a fine of not less than 50,000 penalty units and not more than 100,000 penalty units, or to a term of imprisonment of not less than 15 years and not more than 25 years, or to both the fine and the term of imprisonment. So what am I trying to say? Randy, there's already the law. There's a law which says that you cannot deploy any floating device, equipment, howsoever described, in a water body. So that covers streams, pond, whatever, whether alongside or on it. So there's a law already. There is a law. So this issue of banning mining, in water courses, either close to it or in the water body, there's a law that exists. Enforcement, we can deal with it. That's a different ball game altogether. So it's not as if, so if you say we should ban, as if there's no law, and then you're asking government to come and say you can't do this, or take steps and promulgate a law. So there's a law. I just want the public to know that the law, there's a law in Ghana today which says that you cannot enter any water body, and then alongside it and deploy any equipment, any device, whatever you want to describe, to obtain a mineral. So a law exists. So if you say we should ban it, it's as if there's no law. If it's not working, and for that matter, we are seeing the middle look-alike thing, we can discuss that. We'll deal with that. So I want you to understand that first there's a law. So if you say they should ban it, it's not the case. That is it. The issue is about enforcement and why is the water not colorless. We'll talk about that. Now, let's get back to the ban on small-scale mining. Randy,
what about forest reserves?
We'll come to that. I want, yes, it's the same thing, you know. So I want you to, I'll deal with the forest issue, and then I'll also deal with what we call illegal mining in both places. Randy, when you talk about small scale, it's important we separate small scale mining from illegal mining. I want us to start a discussion that way. Small scale mining and illegal mining. When we say small scale mining, it means that any Ghanaian, because foreigners are not allowed. That's why some foreigners have been arrested or getting, like the kind of thing Okachechi talked about, is a different matter we'll come to. That is what is leading to the anger, the outrage, as to how that we are allowing that to happen. So small scale mining, any Ghanaian can get up, look for a place or an area that has been so designated by Minerals Commission to apply to the Minerals Commission to be able to, you know, carry out a mining activity on a small scale. The area is basically 25 acres. We'll look at the application, go through the whole process, and then, you know, it is recommended to the minister to sign. So anybody can do that. That is lawful small-scale mining. The processing and everything is done online and is done by the district officer of the Minerals Commission. And then once the license is granted, the office there, you know, staff with all the engineers are supposed to go there and ensure that they follow the rules, that they are mining properly, they are adhering to the terms of the license, they are not causing any distraction, etc. So we should understand that that is lawful small-scale mining. Now, it can occur in two ways, and it's important you listen carefully. You can do it on the surface, or you can do it underground. A lot of people don't know that there's several lawful small-scale undertakings underground. You can do it on the surface. And let's also understand this, as to whether you can do it underground on the surface depends on the nature of the ore body. So sometimes when I hear people say, oh, force them to go underground, I get worried. It's just geology here. It's a location of the ore body that determines, because beyond a certain depth, you have to go underground. So it's not a matter of saying, no, you can't do this on the surface, go underground. No. So you can either do it either on the surface or underground. This bit of education is important, and then we can take the issues. We will not finish today. We will do this the whole of September and perhaps October, because once people understand the issue, people were shocked when I told people, some media personnel, you know, and journalists that, look, there is underground mining small scale. They say, wow, they didn't know. I said, yes, we'll come to that. That's why I brought that video. Now, on the surface, it's either hard rock or alluvial. It could be this hard rock where you have to use perhaps explosive to break it up, okay? And then carry the aggregates and then crush them and then get your gold. We'll display all those things through documentaries. Or just alluvial, okay, that have been deposited, and then you can just get on with that. The other one is where the only way you can reach the ore body, so now the video can roll, is to sink a shaft. Okay, you just sink a shaft. The kind of mining that is done in Obuasi, albeit this is a small scale. So you go underground. And Randy, let me explain this. For some reason, I believe it's geology, most parts of the north, the nature of the ore body is such that the only way you can get and do the mining is underground. So you go to a place like Tinga and Dakrupe. It's in Savannah region. They've been issued licenses, and these are underground operations. The licenses were granted as far back as Honorable Asume Chairman's time. They are working, there are no issues. These are underground operations. Typically, the underground ones sink a shaft. And then also, they do some boreholes. So the processing, everything is done on site. I want us to understand that carefully. So many of those areas are underground operations. Then you go to a place like Upper East, Bilsa, both the north and south. All those workings, they are all underground. Now, this video you are watching, okay, it's a documentary that we did. We will play them, in the course of the week. There is a site in Takwa, and I want you to listen carefully. There is a site in Takwa owned by a company called RMG. And then there's also Takwa Community Mining. Now, at the RMG site, Randy, you have 5,000 people working. And for me, when I make a statement, I am very careful about it. We can go there, we can check. I think it's time now for us to take the media to some of these lawful sites. RMG site in Takwa, they have their license, they have the environmental permit, and all the other approvals, and they are working. It's purely underground. When we get there, you see it. It has nothing to do with any water body. It has nothing to do with any river. And they are working. They have balls on site. They have gold catchers. They have other machines. And then they process them. And then they mine the gold. Randy, what I want you to understand is that that is not the only example. The entire Takwa, many of the small-scale operations, they are underground. Parts of Prestia, you go to some parts of Obuasi, and there are several thousands of people involved. Savannah region, Upper East, etc. All these are underground operations. And Randy, they have licenses. Some of them are doing it illegally, so we are beginning to formalize them. That's why when the minister says that we should ramp up the licensing, that's what we're talking about. So this is my personal response to that request for wholesale ban. So when you say that disgusting, I'm using the word disgusting, so it tells you that we are in this together. When we say because PRA is so brown and Cobra and Co have been polluted, they no longer look colorless the way it is. And for that matter, we should stop lawful small-scale mining altogether. Then there's several thousands of people in Takwa who work underground and they don't go into the water body. They don't go into the PRA, they don't go into the Ankobra. You go to Dakrube Tinga, who are working underground. They don't go to any water body. They just bring their ore body, crash and mill on site. We've given a lot of them gold catcher. It means that you are asking them that they should shut down their operations. Now, this site I'm talking about, people have invested millions to bring in machines and do all these things, and do it properly. And there are thousands of people working. So let me say this is not government position. That's my position as a regulator. And I will recommend to government not to go that route. So I will have a problem with wholesale ban. And this is one of the reasons. So that is it. So this is RMG. I want you to watch the video carefully. And I'll play it in all the stations. And that's me responding to it. And folks are going underground. The water is not disturbed. There are 5,000 people working here. Properly dressed, attired. So you can see I will later on reduce it so that we can really show the site. But I'll be making references to it as we go on. So, wholesale ban. And that's what I said when I put out a statement sometime last week. That a wholesale ban will affect lawful operators, particularly those who are working underground, who don't have any issues with this environmental, if you like, catastrophe, disaster, terrorism that has been, used all over the place. So that is the number one problem. You can't use one brush to sweep everybody. Just like the way you go to the West and you say you're coming to do an investment in Ghana, they will tell you, oh, Africa, don't go there. We have 54 or so countries that are different in everything. Ghana is not Sudan, Ghana is not Mali, Ghana is not Burkina. We may have certain things in common. So you cannot say that because there is war in Sudan, nobody should come and invest in Ghana. It's the same thing here. So I will not support total ban on persons doing small scale lawfully. And that is one of my strongest points. There are several thousands doing it lawfully underground. Even surface operations. I've given an example. That's number one. Number two, Randy. I also want you to understand carefully that this is not the first time that a wholesale ban has been implemented. We saw, I think, right from April 2017 all the way to November 2018, where there was ban on small-scale mining. It means that nobody can be granted any license, authorization, or approval to go out there and do it lawfully from April 2017 to somewhere November 2018. Okay? What we should be asking ourselves is, what was the outcome? It was disastrous. We were even worse than before. Number one.
Why?
People have invested money, so people lost millions of dollars. People's businesses were destroyed. And others went and even engaged in illegal mining. Yes. People went and engaged in illegal mining because they needed to pay their bankers and pay people for the equipment and the money that they took, stopping them lawfully. And people became destitute. A lot of people are still yet to recover from that kind of thing. So we've been there before. That's number one. Number two, in 2018, about $2.1 billion worth of gold came from small scale. And that was 48%. So it means that but for the ban, even small scale production in 2018 will have eclipsed large scale. And that gave us 48% of our production because the gold was still leaving the system. And it will interest you to know that that was the year that Ghana overtook South Africa as the biggest producer of gold in Africa and number 6 in the world. So I will have a problem because, and then I think the other day I made this statement, and then I think Joy FM took it out of context. I said that in my response to that if I have 4 sisters and one is an escort, or if you like a prostitute, let's use that word. I don't think it should be a reason for the other 3 not to be married. So I'm saying that people have gone into the prayer, people have gone into the Cobra to go and do this thing, which is not allowed. We should not, on the back of that, the anger, which I understand very well, say that others who are doing it lawfully and they've also spent a lot of money should also not do it. That's my position. I have had several discussions with my minister. When the issue came up again, he called me and said, look, Martin, have you gone through all these releases and statements that are being raised all over? I said, yes. What is your take on small-scale mining? What I'm telling you is the same thing that I told him. He has to make the final decision. I said, Minister, it is not the way to go. I will not advise government that because of this existential threat and the kind of thing we are facing with, which is making all of us angry, no apologies about that, folks in Takwa, Dakrupe, Tinga, Bilsa, North and South, who are just sinking shafts underground. They should rather be assisted to do it properly. So if the likes of you and others didn't know that there are several thousands of Ghanaians who have permits and they are working lawfully underground, I'm saying it on national television today, or Metro today, that several thousands, RMG are organized a special tour for everybody. 5,000 people are working underground. They have all the permits. We've not heard of any accident. Why? Because the inspectors visit them when they were sinking the shaft and doing all those things. And following all the protocols and respecting all the rules. They have boreholes, they are processing it on site. Even Bank of Ghana went there to see whether or not they could be part of the gold purchase program. And this is not just one of, there are several of them. So I'm a bit uncomfortable when all those people have to be stopped. What it simply means is that he will be out of job. They will have millions of dollars to pay to banks and persons who have given them money. People will be out of job, and then they may end up doing other illegal stuff. So in an attempt to solve a problem, supposedly, you're going to make it work. So I asked myself, the 5,000 that if a ban is imposed by government today at RMG, the several thousands at Takwa community mining, and these are all underground operations. If government should go out and say, today we are stopping small scale even lawfully in Ghana, these 5,000 people and several thousands of people in Takwa, Randy, immediately, what do you want them to do?
Martin,
just hang on. Let me finish. Yeah. I mean, we will not finish today because the earlier panelists took our time. There's a lot. I need people to also have a little bit of education, and then you can take us on. But in spite of all that you are saying, the water is still brown. And I'm saying it's not everybody who is going that route. Okay? So there are over 50,000 people in Takwa alone who are underground as we speak working. It has nothing to do with any of those water bodies. Let us separate the two and take them one after the other. So 50,000 plus people in Takwa. Government gets up today and say nobody is allowed to even apply for license and do small scale lawfully. Perhaps those who are doing it are not grandfathered. And then you are saying that everybody, Jawejuma, Ko Nuchumo, Afoshin. All these 50,000 plus people in Takwa, I've not mentioned the other regions. What do you want them to do? To start farming immediately? Do we harvest crops in a day? Okay, you find some of them going to crime. You find some of them going to do the very galamsey that is annoying all of us. So we should be very careful. For me, I think let's get education first on the state of play, the nature of the activity. And then we'll now ask, why is it that all these years the water is still looking like Milo? You know, Prior and Accra and Co have not cleared. Why are we having this Cape Coast, water problem? So that's the first education I want people to know. And I want to believe again and repeat. I'm repeating myself strongly. People are hearing from me from the first time. You see, those in Takwa, President Obuasi, they know. I don't know whether I have told you or I mentioned it to you. Several underground workings, small scale. That is it. I have just received a report. Listen carefully. I've just received a report from the Bolgatanga District Officer of Minerals Commission saying that on his routine visit in the Upper East region, in the Brusa area, he found a lot of people working, men and women who are working underground. And he's requesting that the Minerals Commission take steps to formalize them. I don't have the picture, so that is it, Randy. Look at it. So this is the kind of thing I'm talking about. Look at it. So this is a typical, I'm breaking into the discussion in the Upper East to explain this to you. So this is the shaft, and this is how they go underground. Randy, what has that got to do with the water body? So why should all these people who are using this method, their license properly regulated? Just look at it. Just look at it. Okay? These are properly regulated. Okay? There are inspectors, mechanical, mining, and all those people are on them. And they make sure. We've not had accidents. And they've been doing this thing for years now. Why should these people stop their job? Because somebody else is polluting the water body. Okay? We have every reason to answer to these people, the people of Ghana, why is Prior and Accra looking at that? We will do that. We will tell you the measures government has put in place to make sure these things are sorted out. But should we stop these people? My answer is no. So we should tread cautiously on this wholesale ban in the anger we find ourselves. Okay? The mood is not the best. People are angry about all those things. But we should tread cautiously so that in our attempt to address a problem, we don't destroy other jobs. We don't destroy the livelihood of several thousands of people who are doing it properly, following all the rules and code. So you see, that is their site. Okay? We got to be careful. So that's my take. And so I'm harping on three main reasons as to why, let me repeat, summarize. Three main reasons as to why we cannot do a wholesale ban. One, several others are doing it in a way that has nothing to do with the water bodies. So if you ask them to stop, you're collapsing their business. They're going to lose money. We're going to have social implications. They also get into crime. In fact, they will even add to the illegalities because they will start getting into the forest. They will find any way to go and do something just to pay back their loans. That's number one. Two, we did it February, April, somewhere in 2017, all the way to November 2018. It didn't help us. Okay? For over 1.5 years, nobody was supposed to work lawfully. It didn't work. In fact, that was a time that the biggest production ever in small scale took place. 48% of our gold, 2018. So that is a little bit of education.
Does that not signify or make the point that we are incapable of regulating mining in Ghana?
Randy, that is not the case. I only wanted this education. You see, that's a shaft. I think it's gone off. Maybe in our next segment or edition, I'll take out, it's a full documentary. I'll take out that bit so that you see how they go underground and go and bring it. I'll not say that is the case. Randy, now let me deal with some of the issues before perhaps we wind up for the day, and then next week we'll continue. In this particular issue, so that is it. That's the shaft. Okay? That's what they are doing. And you can see it's localized. I want to believe that's a journalist who is trying to go and find out how they do it. There's no river by, there's no water body near. Okay? So he's about to go underground. Goes to bring the stuff, and then they just crash and wash it on site. These others are illegal people. It's a full documentary. Randy, let's understand the drivers of illegal mining. Illegal mining, what is causing the problem. And that's what I want people to understand. Randy, the main reason why we have illegal mining, the solutions, as whether they are working, they are not working, what government has done, we will not be able to touch on it. So indulge me. And I want you to say this and put it on record. A lot of people don't know. The fundamental cause of illegal mining is getting a place for the small-scale miners to work. That is the bottom line. That is a fundamental cause. The others, I'll touch on it. Okay? So it means that any solution that will not deal with that, the problem will not go away. You're dealing with 3 million livelihoods. Let's have that at the back of our mind. We're not dealing with 50,000 people 20 years ago in Eastern region, in Ashanti, in Western North, Upper East, and Central. Just 5 regions. So, fortunately for us, Professor Kilakpa is alive. He was the first board chairperson or chairman of the Minerals Commission. The commission was created in 1986. Then the CEO at that time is the Venerable Kofi Ansah, still alive. I would love for you to do a segment with them, generally, not just on small scale, but the mining sector. That was the time that, right from the 15th, 17th century, before the British, the Portuguese came, 1471, and all those who were colonized by the British, all the way, small scale was not allowed. But we were doing our good anyway. That's how come the Ashantis do all this kind of stuff. And then when we ran down the state-owned mines throughout the 70s, we went to the IMF and World Bank. And then the IMF and World Bank says that sell the mining companies, sell the companies, sell the mines. You can't run them. So Takwa was sold. Prestea was sold. Dunkwa Continental, where they were doing dredging proper. The whole dredging was going on offing lawfully. All these things were given out because we couldn't management, like Ghana Airways and Co. And then they are saying that you have a lot of your gold and diamonds in Togo. They don't produce those things. So take steps and formalize the sector. So 2 laws were quickly passed. Small-scale gold law and mercury law. So actually a law was passed to allow the miners to use mercury. But how they were doing it is different because they had this retort and the way they will capture it. And they were saying create offices in where they were doing this thing so that we can give licenses to them. So Minerals Commission offices were established in some selected mining areas just to do all those things. These were things that Kofi Ansah and Kilakpa and them did. Randy, so this is 89. About 35 years ago, I hope I got my maths right. Professor Kilakpa and Kofi Ansah then said that beyond all these small areas that were doing it, and we are now formalizing in 5 regions, they recommended that let's have designated areas, which we call them block-out areas. You see, you block them out solely for small scale and give it to them. And then the advice was that where they were working, and this was Rawlings era, PNDC, let them work. And then every year, let's find money for Ghana Geological Survey. That time they used to call it Geological Survey Department, for them to go to all these designated areas, spend money, and then do the investigation. And then you can parcel it out and give it, to the small-scale miners. You can let them form groups, cooperatives, etc. Randy, for 30 years, nobody listened. I'm not making apologies. I'm not defending what we are seeing on PRA, and I'm not saying people should not be angry. I don't live in space. I'm living on the same earth like anybody else. Remember, I also have relations around the countryside. We eat food that comes from, the countryside. Practically nothing grows in Accra. It's just houses. So I know what I'm talking about. So for 30 years, government after government sat down and did nothing. Okay? And then technology has made it possible now to quickly, find a place where you can mine gold. So now you're talking about an activity in 12, 13 regions. You see, people don't know this. People don't know this. Apart from OT, where I come from, and then also from Volta and Greater Accra, the rest of the 13 or 12 regions, small-scale mining is taking place, both lawful and illegal. I want you to understand that. So we sat down 30 years. We didn't do anything. 5 regions. Now we are talking about 12, 13 regions. And that 3 million we are talking about is even nearing about 4 or 5 million. So it's important people understand all these little things. And then you don't rush and make decisions when you are talking about over 3 million livelihoods and you're talking about people who are also doing it lawfully. That's why I'm saying that a wholesale ban will not help us. We did not do that. Randy, fortunately for us, I have realized that this place is not a talk shop. I've been doing this program with you for over 2 years and at Sempa. I just woke up to find that the NDC is saying that when they come, they will resource geological survey. Okay? That's what the NDC is saying. When they come, I've read their manifesto on mining because I'm looking out to see what is good for this country based on what we've been saying. They are saying they will resource geological survey. The only difference is that they didn't tell us how they are going to do it. I heard the vice president, and I'm happy about that, at the launch of the refinery where he was a guest of honor, saying that every year, when he becomes president, they will make available $10 million CD equivalent to geological survey to do geological investigation. So it means that at least everybody now agrees that whatever we've been saying, the fundamental cause, we have to tackle them. This is not something you can deal with overnight. So because you don't have a place for them to work, people are digging everywhere. People are digging everywhere. People are digging everywhere. They just get up, they dig everywhere. And then they have this machine they carry around. When they have cut, and then they bring the excavator, they move it. Even alleyways, Konongo and all those, that's what is going on. That's what they are doing. You see, so this education is important for people to understand that, look, you are not just dealing with 40, 50,000 excuses. We're not making excuses. I'm just repeating myself because people are listening to me and they think that, what is this man talking about? Okay? I'm not making excuses, but I just want you to know that you have to tackle the root cause. So that is the state of the play. That's the situation. Now let's come to, so that's what they do. I'm sure you wanted to ask me. I know you're hard pressed for time, but then we'll continue next week. And I'm asking for a special session on one of the Saturdays. So then, how are they getting a place to work? For us at Minerals Commission and government, this is what we are doing. 1, small-scale miners, go on their own and go and look for a place, they bring it. If we check and they fall within the rules per the mining law, we process it for them. There are several thousands who are doing it. Occasionally, some of them even stray. We've had instances where somebody is supposed to mine, let's say if this is concession, goes outside and mark near your car park. That's illegal mining. So that's number 1. Number 2, the large-scale mining companies have given us, some of portions of their tenements, okay, which we are now giving, like Obuasi, Ashanti, they did it, and several of them they are also helping and cooperating. Giving it to us, we are also giving it to them. And then I think the last 2-3 years or so, government has given us a lot of money to do geological investigation. You see, people don't know this. So if you go to Dunkwa, you go to Bomfa Block. These are areas that we are doing exploration. The exploration is being done by geological survey. The exploration is being done by human. The results are looking very good. We're working on the data. Very soon we'll give it to them. Because we believe, government believes that the more you license people, okay, the more you take people from the realm of illegality to do it lawfully. So when people were saying that, that's, in fact, if you listen to Minister's press release, he says that one of the directives to me is to, increase the number of, get more people to be licensed to do it lawfully. So I was making reference to the Bolga report, which now tells me that the officer has chanced upon so many areas in the Upper East area there, and then unfortunately, none of them have licenses. They are doing it illegally. Fortunately, they're underground. So I've asked him, between the end of the month, move quickly, then we license them. Do you understand that? So those are the things that we are doing. Maybe next week we'll have time and discuss the water body. So if people didn't know that there are several thousands working underground, properly licensed, okay? And then some are also doing it illegally, like this Upper East one that have just been brought to my attention. And for that matter, if you say stop lawful small-scale mining altogether, you're going to throw several thousands out of job. Because I'm asking myself, Takwa Community Mining, RMG sites, between the two, they are over 10,000. And then today, the government gets up, the Minister of Lands and Natural Resources, in a press release says that all forms of mining, small scale, should be stopped and is banned in Ghana today. Those thousands of people in Takwa who have spent money, and remember, at the market there, at the Takwa CBD, everything that is going on there is coming from these underground workings. So it means that you're basically going to collapse the town. Are you not going to make the situation worse off? Where do you expect all these thousands of people and all these market women in the central business of Takwa, where people, the miners come and spend money, buy clothes? What do you want them to do? They should go and steal? They should go and steal? How do you expect people to pay millions of dollars to banks that have given money to finance these operations? So if you ask me, as a CEO of Minerals Commission, because definitely government will consult the Minerals Commission. If you look at Section 100 of our law, it says that before the minister makes any decision, he needs to obtain the advice of the Minerals Commission. I will not recommend to my minister or to government to do a wholesale ban on small scale. So that's my first response to organized labor and the other people. We will address their other concerns. But it is not in the interest of 35 million Ghanaians to say that all forms of small-scale mining must be done, banned. Right. We will not go that route.
Okay.
I won't support it.
All right, okay. All right, so those are the views of the Minerals Commission and the CEO.